Hello everybody, this is Leah from Manuscript Manager and welcome to our author submissions help video. Here we are on the sign-in page for the program. Just as a note, if you are a first timer, you would click New Account and be asked for your email address and a bit of other information. However, after giving that information, you would be right back at this same page. So for our purposes today, I'm just going to click Sign In. And that brings us into the program. Now on the first page, you're faced with a number of icons. These icons denote the role that you might play in the program for a particular manuscript. For our purposes today, we're going to click the author icon, and that brings us into the author dashboard. Just to get oriented, the dashboard typically looks like this with your journal logo at the top, your username, and in brackets a little option to change role if you've accidentally clicked into the wrong section. Your heading for dashboard at the right, which is lit up because that's where we are. Another heading called profile, which contains all of your personal profile details, contact information, areas of expertise, password, and recent activity. We don't need to do anything with that right now, so I'll go back to the dashboard overview for the authors. And we'll talk about the main section on this page, which is the list of submitted manuscripts. You'll see that it's broken into 4 columns. On the left, you have the delete column. The next column is all of the detail about your submission, the manuscript ID, the authors, and the date of the submission. The third column is the status of the submission, and in the fourth column you might have a call to action. Now if we scroll down, and it's a long list here in our demo, you can actually see what we've come in for today, which is the Start a New Submission button. This is theoretically what you would be clicking, but before we do that, I'd just like to point out that at all times you have an entrance into the Help Center on your right. In this case, because we're an author, we might click the plus sign to open up the authors section. Whoops, there's one more. And you can see the help topics that you could click into there if you were stuck. And you also have the most popular help topics at the bottom of the page. So 2 options there for help, but we don't need help yet. So what we'll do is we'll just start our new submission by clicking the button. And we are led into the submission process. Here on the next page you'll see we're greeted by 8 tabs across the top of the page. These tabs each signify a step in the admissions process. When you're done with all the tabs, you will reach the send page. At this point, we have not done any of the previous steps correctly, so you'll see that they light up in pink because we're not able to send until we go back and complete those sections. So in effect, you can hop around and do the sections out of order, but if it makes no difference to you, you can start at the left, which we're going to do for our demo today. The left tab is called Guidelines, and here your journal will have input their specific guidelines and requirements. You will read and check the box to confirm that you have read and will comply with these guidelines, and click Continue. This brings you to the next section. You can see that our guidelines section is complete, and there's a check mark to denote that, and we've moved on to the authors section. This is where you, as a single author in a multiple author manuscript, could add the information of the other authors. So let's just pretend that we're adding information. There we go. We've added the email of our theoretical co-author, and then we click Add Person. I've previously input this information just for the purposes of our demo, and we click the type of contributor that person is, and we can change the way that our names are listed. But in any case, we would add this name and continue, and that would bring us back to the author tab page. And now you can see that there are 2 names instead of 1. And if you're satisfied with that, you would check this box and continue. Of course, you could always add more people. And by checking the box and continuing, you'll see that we've moved on to the third section. We have 2 sections that are complete, and we are now in the details of our manuscript, where we would add a manuscript title, test manuscript, and the type of manuscript. In this case, I'm going to choose original article. The section of the journal to which I'm submitting my manuscript, I'm going to say that I'm submitting to the clinical section. And the category, let's call it insects. Again, the category and the section options will change according to the journal. And if you get stuck, you can wave your mouse over these small help fields on the right to get a helpful prompt. And the last thing we do is add our abstract. Again, you can save the draft if you feel you might need to come back and correct any of this or rewrite. But in our case, we are going to save and continue. And that will bring us to the next section. We are now in the keywords section. Not every journal uses the keywords section, but for those of you that encounter it, you will see at the top that you are required to choose at least 5 relevant keywords. So let's get going and highlight a few on the list and add them. When you do that, they appear in a separate list at the top. Let's see, let's go all the way down. Scapula bone, add keyword. Now you'll see that that also appears on the list. We will just add 4 here, and then I'd like to show you another option. Here we have 4 selected keywords from the list, and now there's one more that is not on the list, which I would like to add right now. So we're going to add keyword brain, and now we've got 5. Let's come down to the bottom, save keywords, and continue. Great, and now we're on to the actual submission of our documents. Again, very important that you read the 2 sections of information at the top of the page. Make sure that you comply with all of the instructions. I've created a few test manuscripts, so let's go ahead and upload those documents. This is the document attached. However, I have not clicked upload yet. If I click upload, you'll see that I actually need to select a file type before I'm able to upload. Here is the file type section. Here's the drop menu. Let's see. And that is my manuscript. Excuse me. Now that I've chosen the type of file, I'm going to upload the file. Okay, and now the file is effectively added, and it's on a separate list here, you can see. I do have additional diagrams that I would like to add. That's a separate document, so I'm going to choose File, get my test diagrams and tables, and if I select file type, I think I'll call it figure, and upload. There you go. Now both of my documents have been uploaded, the text and the diagrams. I'm satisfied with that. There's nothing more I need to do. I'm going to check this box. Of course, I've read and complied with all of the instructions, and I'm ready to click continue. And that brings me forth to the Reviewers tab. This is an optional tab, and again, some journals do not even include this tab. But if you encounter it, this is an opportunity to supply contact information for up to 3 impartial reviewers who you believe are qualified to evaluate your submission. If you were to suggest a person, you would click the suggest button and be prompted to fill out basic contact information where the asterisks show you the required sections. For our purposes today, we'll just cancel and go back to where we were. Oops, one more time. Yes. So we are not going to add any reviewers today. We'll just click continue to next section. And in this section, we add the cover letter and the accompanying information for our submission. So we would say, dear editor, whoops, having a problem with capital letters today. Dear editor, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, sincerely. And by ticking this box, I declare the information is truthful and correct. And again, if you are required to have a point-by-point response, this is the location for it. And here you can either save draft if you feel you need to review at a later date what you've written, or you can save and continue, which is what we'll do right now. There you have it. So we have moved through all 7 of these tabs and have reached the Send tab. This is our final opportunity to check and make sure everything is in order with our submission. You will see that excluding the guidelines, each of these tabs at the top have a corresponding section on our Send page. So we have an authors section here, we have a details section here, keywords, and etc. So for every section you've previously filled out, you have a section on this page where you can review all of your information related to the submission and make sure it's correct. And one very important step is to actually review your documents. At the bottom, we cannot actually click Submit Your Manuscript until you've checked your documents. Our platform will automatically take all the uploaded documents and combine them into one PDF. So at this point, you're prompted to check the PDF review document. So we'll click on that and just make sure that both my text document and my diagrams document have been put together in this PDF. Make sure all of it's present. So we'll open that, and here is the automatically generated title page. The text section looks good, and there are my diagrams. That's great. So it's all there. And I can now confirm that I have checked my PDF. Great. So you can see that that pink section has now disappeared. It's now just white and green because I have reviewed my document and I'm able to click Submit. And that brings us through the entire process and back to our dashboard where our most recent submission will, in theory, be at the top. So I would like to say thank you for being with us today, and that concludes our author submissions workflow help video. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.